My name is Marek Posolda, and I will have presentation about Keycloak introduction and demo. I think that most of you are already familiar with Keycloak, and but still, even if you are like familiar of Keycloak and you know Keycloak, it may be still good to repeat a bit. And I hope that everyone will learn something new in this presentation. And even if you know Keycloak, hopefully it will be still useful. So let me start with few notes about myself. So I am Marek Posolda, and I am a Red Hat employee, and will become IBM employee soon. But I will still work on Keycloak for my work, during my work. And I'm living in Brno, Czech Republic, and I am software engineer on Keycloak since 2013. I am Keycloak maintainer, and I am working especially on the core parts of Keycloak, like user authentication protocols like OpenID Connect and SAML, and clients. And here is my GitHub profile. And it's first time for me to visit Japan. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming. So we can start about main features of Keycloak. So Keycloak is used for authentication mainly for web applications, and it provides single sign-on. So when your application is integrated with a Keycloak server, you can log in once, or the user can log in once to one application and provide his password, and then when he opens other web applications, he is automatically authenticated, and he does not need to provide his password again. Similarly, there is single sign-out, so when user log out, he is logged out from all applications in his browser. Keycloak supports lots of standard protocols like OpenID Connect, SAML2, OAuth 2 and 2.1, FAPI1 and FAPI2 draft, FAPI SIBA, and OID for verifiable credentials, which has only experimental support. And there are lots of other RFCs based on those protocols, but those are most interesting and or most important one. And Keycloak implements server-side of OpenID Connect and SAML2. So for your application, you may need to have OpenID Connect adapter. And Keycloak fits well into microservices architecture. So here are some pictures how typical workflow can look like with the OpenID Connect protocol. Like when user opens the browser, he opens the application. Application will redirect user to Keycloak where he authenticates, and after successful authentication, Keycloak redirects back to the application, and application is able to exchange the authorization code for the ID token, and in the ID token there are claims about the user, and the user could be considered as successfully authenticated by the application. And in the single page applications, but also in other applications, there could be also access token available, and access token is available, is useful to call the REST services, so that the application can take or grab data from other applications or services in the microservice architecture, and it can use the access token to access the service, and the service which is secured by Keycloak will need then to verify this token, and the service can verify the token either by verifying the signatures, where the service will need to download the public key and so on. But maybe the better way is to call Keycloak with the token. There is a Keycloak server has endpoint, like introspection endpoint, which can verify if the token is correct and if it's still valid. And Keycloak also provides identity management and all the data about users and their credentials and about clients, roles, and also about user sessions are saved on the Keycloak side. So in your application, you don't need to care about persistence of the users or of their passwords. And the data are stored in the relational database. And InfiniSpan is used for clustering and for cross-site replication. And InfiniSpan is used for store the data in the user sessions, or also to cache the data from the database. And Keycloak provides UI user interfaces. There is admin console, which is for Keycloak administrators to manage the Keycloak. Account management is for end users to manage their passwords and their user profile. There are also screens during login, and where also there are optional things like user registrations or forget password, where user can click forget password link during authentication. And then he needs to in his email he needs to click on the link so that he can reset his password. And user profile allows to add custom user attributes on the screens. And I will show you the profile hopefully in the demo later. Keycloak also has lots of authentication methods for second factor mechanisms. There are OTP, WebAuthn, and passkeys, and recovery codes, which are going to be supported soon, hopefully. And like primary mechanisms are like password and WebAuthn passwordless or passkeys. There is support for Kerberos authentication, or support for delegating authentication to other identity provider or social provider like Facebook, Google, or GitHub. Step-up authentication is useful if some client application wants different or requires different level of user authentication. So, for example, some client application may require that user needs to authenticate with two-factor authentication, when other applications are not so strict and they are fine just with the primary mechanism. And there is also option to provide your own custom mechanism, custom authentication mechanism, and deploy it as a plugin in Keycloak. And among other things, there are like possibility to use LDAP or your own user storage provider, which you can develop if you want to connect to some legacy storage of users. Support for organizations was recently added. That's for business-to-business use cases. Claims in the token can be customized with the use of client scopes or protocol mappers. And there are various tools which can be used for tracing and monitoring, and or logging, and event support, which is useful for administrators to see if for example, when new users registered or when users log in or log out. And REST APIs are useful for manage Keycloak. We have admin and account REST API. And Keycloak has also lots of deployment options. It can be started as a standalone or bare metal Java application, or as a container application like Docker container or Podman container. There is operator, Keycloak operator, which can be used for starting Keycloak on environments like Kubernetes or OpenShift. And there is Keycloak supports clustering and high availability and cross data center. And there is integration with RHDG or Red Hat Data Grid for this integration. And Keycloak test framework. So my colleague Lukáš asked me for present Keycloak test framework. So Keycloak is open source project, and we always welcome new contributions to Keycloak. But sometimes one of the main issues when you want to contribute to the Keycloak and you are not so familiar with Keycloak is automated test, because Keycloak requires that every pull request has automated test, or maybe not strictly every pull request, but most of the pull requests are better to have automated tests. So it's more confident that like some functionality is not broken later. But automated tests are sometimes hard because current Keycloak test suite based on Arcadian is maybe harder to understand. So there is new Keycloak test framework which is being developed and which is based on JUnit 5. And it aims to have more clean structure and fast onboarding. And also it allows to add easily custom extensions. It's in place for like more than 6 months, so it's relatively new, but it's already ready to be used, and you can use it. Now we are migrating existing tests from the Keycloak test suite to the new test framework, but also you are welcome to try the test framework to test in your own extensions. And Keycloak has documentation like user guide and examples how to use this test framework. And now few points about past, present and future of Keycloak. So Keycloak was founded in early 2013 by Bill Berg and Stian Torgersen. And Stian is still team leader of Keycloak. And Keycloak first final release was in September 2014. And Keycloak 2.3 is certified as OpenID Connect provider in October 2016, and Keycloak 15.02 was certified as FAPI1 provider in October 2021. And Keycloak is CNCF incubating project since April 2023. And now some numbers how Keycloak currently stands. So there are more than 27,000 GitHub stars, more than 20,000 pull requests opened, and more than 28,000 commits, more than 1,300 different contributors to Keycloak, and more than 100 releases. And Keycloak also is now, like all those numbers are still growing, which is great. And Keycloak now has also dedicated conferences, like KeycloakCon is first KeycloakCon conference now in Japan, and KeyConf. KeyConf are like conferences which there were already few KeyConf conferences, and it's usually in some cities in Europe. And next KeyConf is planned in August this year in Amsterdam. And Keycloak Dev Days is another Keycloak dedicated conference, which is in Germany. And for the future, there is still active development with lots of interesting features incoming. Like this is not like a definitive roadmap, but it's like just what's going on. So we have more OpenID Connect and OAuth protocols support and certifications. And another thing which we want to support is federated token exchange. We recently added support for standard token exchange. Also Depop and OID for verifiable credentials, which is experimental feature contributed by the Keycloak community, and especially by the members of the OAuth special interest group, which is like Keycloak special interest group interested in contributing to OAuth based protocols. And there is also a plan to have more supported authentication methods like passkeys, conditional UI, and recovery codes, and improvements for zero downtime upgrade, and admin API version 2 that will not that will be other version of admin API, which will be added on top of current admin API version 1. And hopefully in version 2 we will be able to avoid some mistakes which was done in version 1, and it will be more polished And there is plan to promote Keycloak as CNCF graduated project as well. And yeah, so now it's time for the demo. Yeah, hopefully everything still works. Yeah, so I've started Keycloak already as a bare metal application on my laptop on port 8180, and it's started as a Java application. And now I can access Keycloak on this port 8180 on localhost, and it's accessible by HTTP because it's started as a dev instance, but in production Keycloak should be always accessible by HTTPS. And also I'm able to select admin user, but this can be create admin user, but this can be done also only when Keycloak is started on localhost. So in cloud environments, there are some other ways needed for create initial admin user, like using environment variables and so on. And yeah, now when temporary admin user is created, I'm able to log into the Keycloak admin console when I am where I can do something and manage my Keycloak. And I can manage realms. Like another thing which Keycloak support is exporting the realms. So a realm could be exported into JSON file and then imported again, which can be useful when migrating between various environments. So now I have JSON file with data about my realm. There are some users here and some client applications. And yeah, here I can see that, for example, there is user Alice and some of her user attributes, and yeah, this user has password, and there are other things which can be visible for the user. And now I have also simple application started, and when I opened it on 8080, it redirected me immediately to Keycloak, because this application requires, it's JavaScript application which requires user to authenticate always. So I will authenticate as the Alice. And the application is now able to see some data about the user because it has ID token. And the ID token contains some claims which are like standard metadata described in the OpenID Connect specification. And there are also some claims about the user, like his name and email, for example. But we can see that this application also wants birth date of the user, but it does not have birth date available yet. And there is no birth date in this token. And in the sources of my application, I can see that the application wants to use the claim birth date from the ID token, and this claim is not here. So I will first check if user has birth date attribute and he does not have it. So now I will just show how to add attribute, or Keycloak has feature called user profile, which may allow users to allow administrators that some attribute is required or needed for the realm for all users. So I will use attribute called birth date, and in the UI it will be shown as birth date, and it will be a required field for users, and so users will need to provide this attribute during login if they don't have it, and also users can edit it. And I will not add any validations. It's possible to add validations, for example, that attribute is number or something like that. But I will add annotation which allows to specify, for example, how the attribute will look in the Keycloak UI. And when I use annotation called input type and type HTML5 date, it might be, or the attribute should be visible in the UI as the calendar. And now when I refresh my application, usually now the application just does not show any Keycloak UI because user is automatically authenticated because of the SSO. But here, because user does not have birth date, which is required attribute, user will need to specify it by this calendar. So I will specify April 1st, for example. And after submitting it, I can see that like birth date is in the token. And also it's displayed here. So I will also try to display calendar events from the backend, but it does not work right now because backend returns 403. And my backend is the application which is it's secured by the Electron OIDC adapter, and it requires that the endpoint secured, which is accessed. Yeah, so I can also show that in the JavaScript application, I'm calling this endpoint and from the backend, and I'm using the token, access token, to call this. But yeah, this endpoint requires a role user, and by default, like those roles are taken from the realm roles of the user, and this user does not have the realm role called user. So yeah, I will add. I will maybe need to check if this user has the role user, and it does not have. So I will add role user to user Alice. And now I will also check, because not every application has a possibility to easily debug token. So Keycloak also has a way how can users or how can administrator see how the token looks like. So for the JS app, which is my JavaScript application, I go to Client Scopes tab, Evaluate, and here I can see what are protocol mappers used, which adds claims to the token, and I can show, or I can select user Alice and see how the pre-generated access token will look like. And now I can see that there is role user available for this user Alice. So it seems that it works. So maybe now when I refresh and look at the access token, I can, yeah, so its role user is here. So now JavaScript application is able to retrieve the events from the backend. Yes, so that's everything for the demo. I can just add that it's also available online on this location if you want to take a look. And yeah, so thanks, and that's all for this keynote. Do you please have any questions? Mm-hmm.
Thank you for a great presentation. And we are use our Keycloak, and we use Keycloak in our heavy critical workloads. And I am curious about the zero downtime upgrade, as you mentioned in the future plan. Is it the plan to cover all operation in the Keycloak upgrade, like upgrading the server version, libraries, adapters, everything? Or is it, I searched a little bit and found the issue where they discussed about the database migration only. So I am interested in the scope of zero downtime version upgrade.
Yeah, so there is different Keycloak subteam which works on zero downtime upgrade. So I may not have latest informations or latest updates, but from what I know, zero downtime upgrade is going to be supported very soon for the micro versions updates. So, for example, if you migrate from Keycloak 26.2.3 to 26.2.4, it should work. Or the aim is that like this will work. For minor versions, this may be harder, but we also plan to support minor versions later, or as far as I know. For major versions, those are more challenging because major versions are not backwards compatible, and there can be lots of backwards incompatibility issues. But right now, I think that minor versions may not work as well because of the database migration, which can sometimes happen between minor versions, and this is one of the pain points. But like for micro versions, we aim to not have any database upgrades needed. So, and for those, there is a hope that that it will work and will be supported soon. But,
that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the question.
Okay, so thank you, Marek.
Thank you.